for you, what determines the value of a board game?
Ooh. You two love to talk about the value of board games. So
Yes, neither of us just melted through the couch.
So before we get to you, let's talk about us. What determines the value of a board game? One, I think the experience that you're having when you have a group of people together playing it. What else is the point of a board game than the experience that you're having when you're playing it? Which means that for me, too, is like replayability, right? How many times can I play this again and again for it to be something that it has earned its value over time? What are your thoughts?
Well, as an illustrator, my first thing is always the illustrations. I guess coming from a visual land, like that's what really speaks to me first, and perhaps maybe other people that influences them more than they realize too. But I love to see illustrations that just bring me into the game, into the feeling of the world, and that feel like it's something that, like a world that I want to go into.
Krista of Visual Land. Okay, Mark and Tom, what are your thoughts? So, replayability, the experience of playing, the immersiveness that the art can bring into it. What else brings value to a board game, in your opinion?
I think for me, it has to be something new. It has to be something daring to really capture my attention. There's a lot of games that I've played that have wonderful mechanisms, and you kind of see them in different shapes and forms in other games, or storylines that are similar but maybe a little different. And I think execution can be well done for something that's not super creative. And I think the thing that really triggers me as of late are things where they're pushing for something, and even though it might not be perfect or it might not have come out exactly the way they wanted, they're going into new territory and they're trying things, and that gets me a little more excited than playing another worker placement game or playing another RPG game, or something that brings something new to the table, not just a retheming of what has been done before. And that's hard to say, because maybe there's a game that has aspects of that where, like, it's not completely groundbreaking, but it's got this one aspect where they really took a big swing. I think that's fun for me.
I'm going to push this into a slightly different space.
Okay.
So
Use your back. Use your legs, I mean. Is that right?
Pushing.
Use your back.
I push
Crush
how I
your
want.
spine.
All right. Where this tends to come up the most is, is this game worth it? Or, oh, there's not enough value there. Or, I didn't see the value in that one like I do in that one. And value becomes this weird quantifying thing that's usually about measurable stuff that I think misses the point. And, is this game worth it? Generally, like when people talk about value in board games, usually we're talking about, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 things. It's how many components are there? What is the quality of those components? And how many hours of playtime am I going to get with those components? And to me, those things mean almost nothing. Like, I can hand you a bag of 600 pounds of, that would be hard, but me, very fit.
Use your back.
I can give you a ton of pieces of cardboard and plastic that are all board game components. That doesn't mean that, so what? What's the value? We talked about this on an early podcast. Like, what's the value of Star Wars on DVD? Like the disc that cost 0.01 cents to make? Like, or is it all these other intangibles that I think we should talk about? And hours of playtime also, I think, I appreciate the replayability thing, but it drives me crazy when I see this campaign has 684 hours of content. It's like, well, are 660 of those hours crappy and underdeveloped? Like, I would rather have a very, very, very incredibly potent, masterfully done 10-hour experience than a garbage 600-hour one. I know, sorry, I used the word garbage, but like, so I wish that these conversations would involve these intangible things that never come up, like the skill and the experience of the people who are making the game. Like, that's part of the value. The value of a game made by these people is different than these people. Like, if you go to a restaurant and the world's greatest chef makes you a trout, and then I make you 3 trout, which of those meals is more valuable? I assure you, it's not my pile of trout. And
You can use the word garbage again.
thank you. Illustrations, the craft of the people. Like, if you have some brilliant industry-leading graphic designer on this game, that's part of the value. That should be part of the price of what you're considering when you're thinking about this game costs $60. Is it worth $60? Don't just look at the pile of stuff on the table. Whose names are on the box? Who did the writing? Who did the graphic design? How much passion and energy can you tell went into it? Like, what is the full holistic picture of, illustrations? Like, this is an experience, like you're saying, that transcends stuff that can be measured with numbers. And the fact that that's how we measure value, I think that completely sells short what we're trying to do in this hobby as people who engage with it to have a good experience. And I understand part of measuring value is budgets. I only have $100 to spend on games. I want to get the most bang for my buck. So people have that conversation. But let's not just look at how many hours of gameplay, how much stuff, blah, 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 blah. It misses a point.
What makes a game great is how you approach it. Right? You have a part in it. I can enjoy something because I choose to enjoy it and look for the wonder in it, and you can choose to have a terrible experience because you're trying to pick out the flaws. Do that with your friends. Do that with your family. See where that gets you. Mm-hmm. Right?
So you think your mindset plays a part in the value of a board game?
Absolutely, it does. How much fun can I have playing this game with my friends who have decided that we're going to make this fun and we actually enjoy each other's company, versus somebody who is really hypercritical of it, and it doesn't really look like my type of thing. They're not going to have as much fun when they play it because they've already told themselves that.
Is that why why we have a podcast? To like prime people's minds, and as we prime their minds, it increases the value of our board games.
It's just so Tom and I can vent.
The whole point of this podcast, other than us venting, yes, is to manipulate people into thinking that we're smart so that our stuff have more perceived value. Yes.
And also make them smarter so that their mind variable in the algorithm of value of a board game increases.
As long as it increases the perception of our stuff, sure, that's cool.
And
because
also,
math.
It's math, and so it's perfect. So there's that as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, yes, because, why is this 50-card game $20? Well, it's only 50 cards. That probably costs, what, $3 to make? It's like, yeah, but...
What about the thinking?
Yeah, someone spent 2 years making those 50 cards work together the way that they do. Like, that's the value. Who cares about 50 cards?
Wrong way to look at it. Yeah, I agree.
Do you think they're done venting now?
Let me check their eyes. Yeah, I think so. I think it's all out.
We've chosen to stop. That's what this is.
She shut us down. She's the off button.
Boop.
Let me finish chewing this berry scone for just one more moment.
How much of you is having to tell your brain not to reach for another piece of berry scone?
I'm like, really? Should I not have it right next to me?
There's zero reason to have it next to you.